I think everyone was surprised when Klaus was announced. The art style looked like it was uniquely 2D, but had elements of 3D style in it. The character wasn't the typical handsome, wisecracking hero, and it didn't look like some wild, grand adventure. But it still won its place in many, many hearts, including mine. The story follows Jesper, a rich man's lazy son who purposely does a bad job every time his father tries to make him work so that he'll get fired and sent home. Very much weaponized incompetence. His father, however, is sick of his son's lazy ways, and being the royal postmaster general, he decides to send his son to the distant, frozen island of Smearensburg to establish a post office there and to post 6,000 letters before the end of the year. If he doesn't, he's cut off from his family's fortune. Permanently. Smearensburg is almost entirely populated by two families, the Ellingboes and the Crumbs. Anyone familiar with basic Southern folktales will recognize the setup of the Hatfields and the McCoys, two families who have been fighting for so long hardly anyone even remembers why they're fighting, or even cares much about the original reason. The point of the feud is now basically, well, the feud itself. The town is run down and awful due to the constant fighting. No one can fix up their house without their angry neighbors immediately destroying it again. No one can do laundry without someone else ruining it. No one can do much of anything without someone coming along and making it terrible. Even just playing music. They will sit there and blare noise at each other out of pure spite, ruining anything that might have been enjoyable. The kids are the ones who suffer most because of this. Their school isn't even a school anymore, as their parents don't want the kids mingling with children from the other clan, so they keep them sequestered at home. The school teacher has basically turned fish saleswoman trying to get enough money to leave the town, a goal that seems fairly common. Being such angry, hateful people who are largely barely literate, Jesper has no luck in getting anyone to send letters. He tries to find anyone who will send them, seeking out one of the very few people living on the island that are not one of the Ellingboes or Crumbs, besides the Sami people who live a little further out. An elderly woodsman named Klaus. He's terrified of the man at first, genuinely thinking that he's going to die before Klaus even says a word. As it turns out, though, Klaus is very kind. He puts up handmade birdhouses and has a gigantic room full of toys he made for a child that he and his late wife sadly never got to welcome into the world. Jesper, at this moment, had an accidentally stolen drawing from a child which he dropped while fleeing Klaus. Klaus, seeing the note and seeing how sad and lonely the children in town are. That night, he manages to force Jesper into helping him deliver a small gift to the child who dropped the picture. A toy frog, which the little one is completely enchanted by, probably never having had a toy before. The little boy, while playing with it, ends up playing with a little girl of the opposite clan, which quickly grabs the attention of the clan elders. Jesper also convinces the children that the only way for them to get toys too is to write letters to Klaus, some secret magical man of the woods, who will bring good boys and girls gifts. Not only does this get the children to write letters, but it prompts them to start doing good deeds in the hopes of getting a toy of their own, even helping people from the rival clans. Their kindness and joy starts spreading in the little village, many of the adults starting out with doing things nice for each other rather grumpily, but eventually building genuine friendships regardless of clan. Klaus responds to the letters by sending toys from the massive collection he's made, his legend growing with each child that woke up to a gift. A lot of people seem to not get why the adults started being nice to each other too. One of the most obvious examples being the exchange where the little girls harvested berries for one woman of the opposite clan, who made it into preserves and gave a few jars to the girl's mother, who then made a cake with the preserves and reluctantly brought it over, slowly building the foundations of a friendship. This kind of thing may seem strange in larger cities, but it's totally natural to someone who grew up like me out in the boonies. If someone does you a good turn, you try to repay it, even if you don't like that person very much. You just do. If you don't, no matter who it was you'd be repaying for it and how much you or your family doesn't like them, you're seen as a greedy ingrate, and it's very likely that people won't be inclined to help you anymore, even if you ask for it or really need it. And when you live somewhere with limited access to medical help and all, it's really important to stay on polite terms with the neighbors. Klaus continues giving away the toys, being relieved when it seems like the supply is about to run out and he can stop the whole thing. Jesper hasn't gotten nearly enough letters yet, trying to persuade him to make more toys, which Klaus doesn't want to do. It brings up too many painful memories. The teacher Alva reopens her school when the children come to her to ask her to teach them to read and write so they can send letters, and because good children go to school. She agrees and starts dipping into her savings bit by bit to refurnish the school and get supplies for the lessons. Jesper tries to convince Klaus to make new toys, accidentally finding out about Klaus's late wife, Lydia. They had tried very hard to have children of their own, but it just didn't happen. And Lydia eventually became sick and died, at which point Klaus became a recluse, hiding away with his grief. Jesper and Alva meet Margot, a young Sami girl who also wants a gift. Jesper takes her to Alva to translate since he doesn't speak the Sami language, and with her help figures out the gift that Margot wants, a sled with a sail on it. Jesper tries to build it himself, but is very bad at it. But his efforts inspire Klaus, who helps finish the sled and deliver it to the little girl. Seeing the pure joy that Margot experiences, Jesper is genuinely touched and excited, Klaus returning to his workshop to make more toys for the other children. He may not have been able to have children of his own, but by bringing joy to all of the island's children, he's kind of all of their father in a way. Klaus agrees to the idea of making it an event that will take place on what is now Christmas, with Margot's family and people, grateful to Klaus, showing up to help build more toys and make an outfit for Klaus to deliver them in, resembling the traditional Santa Claus outfit. The elders of the two clans are upset that their families are barely fighting at all anymore. They gloried in the violence and hatred and know nothing but spite, but now their children and grandchildren are getting along, and the town, rather than the sounds of fighting, is full of music and laughter. Alva, the teacher, doesn't even want to leave anymore. The town has become a beautiful, peaceful place, with everyone helping each other and the genuine goodwill and kindness of the children spreading to the adults. As Jesper starts to fall in love with Alva and with the town itself, he isn't sure he really wants to leave anymore either. On the night of the big toy delivery, the two clans execute a plan. They've made a temporary truce to bring an end to what they see as the big problem, so their families can get back to feuding. They had started sending a bunch of letters to meet Jesper's goal after finding his chart in the back of the post office, and marched on Klaus's home to stop the gift delivery. Jesper's father arrives personally to collect him and take him home, revealing why Jesper was trying to get so many letters out to begin with. At first, everyone is angry with Jesper, with Alva and Klaus thinking that he was doing everything out of greed, which he was at the beginning, with a change of heart coming when he saw how much genuine joy the kids were feeling. As Jesper is about to leave the island forever with his father, though, they have a quiet word, which was disappointingly off camera. This would have been a really great scene for them to include, but they ended up doing it off camera. And Jesper returns to save his friends and the toys. He tries to stop the elders from destroying the toys, a wild sled chase ensuing, during which one of the members of the Ellingbo clan, Magdalene, falls off a cliff and is saved by Olaf Krum, the two of them falling in love pretty much instantly. Jesper isn't able to control the sled, which is destroyed, the contents of it also destroyed. But it turns out that it was a decoy Klaus and Alva set up when the town children warned them of the elders coming. Still, the fact that he came back and tried showed his friends that he really did care about them and it wasn't all an act, so they forgive him. They deliver the toys, with the feud being forever ended when Magdalene and Olaf get married, uniting the two clans. Jesper and Alva get married and raise two children there, with Jesper continuing to act as the island postmaster. He and Klaus continue to deliver presents for 11 years, after which Klaus simply vanished. But every Christmas Eve, Jesper sits up and waits to see his friend, who returns to deliver gifts to children around the world that night, bringing the story to an end with the beginning of what we know as Santa Claus. The movie is gorgeous. The music is incredible, although there was one part where it got strangely, I don't know if modern is the right word for it, but when Jesper is telling a kid that made fun of him that bad kids don't get toys, they get coal, it plays this music that's clearly like, look at what a tough big shot this guy is now. And it just really doesn't fit the rest of the theme, but it's clearly played for comedy, so I'll give it a pass. The animation is stunning, with beautifully made 2D designs that tell you so much about the characters before they say a single word, paired with 3D lighting effects that make them look alive in a way that hadn't been done before. It's just such a treat for the eyes. The story is also beautiful, giving a backstory to Santa that just feels right and matches with the overall theme of the movie. A genuine act of kindness always inspires another. This is something I truly believe in, and part of why I always try to give at least one person a genuine compliment while I'm out and about, and try to help people when I can. I found that one advantage to me being a very small woman who often dresses like an extra from Little House on the Prairie is that if people see me trying to help someone out with something, like about a week ago when I stopped to help an elderly gentleman who had a metal shelf fall out of his truck while he was driving and he was trying to get it back on, is that seeing a little gal like me trying to help out often guilts anyone around who is more fit to do it, like big healthy men, into helping out as well. No one had stopped to help him before I did, but after I did and was trying to help him lift it back into his truck, 2 more people pulled over and 2 men came and helped get it back into the truck and arrange it so it wouldn't fall out again. Sure, maybe they would have stopped to help whether I was there or not, but I have noticed that people, especially grown men, are a lot more likely to jump in and help if they see a little gal like me trying to do it first. Chivalry isn't dead, sometimes it just needs a little bit of a push. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope that your holiday season is peaceful. Whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate at all, remember to show kindness to the people around you. Sometimes one small act is all it takes to create an avalanche that can change the course of the world. Be safe, stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one.